New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
There we are. Hello, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
Okay, Reverend Pjae over here.
And this is New Thought today for February 10th, 2026. Thank you so much for being with us. We're grateful you're here and grateful you're a part of what we're doing today. For those that are familiar with the program, Rev Z and I come together every Tuesday afternoon to have a conversation and with an amazing leader in the New Thought movement. And our guest today, Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, no stranger to the program. I went back in the archives. This is your fifth appearance with us on this program.
I was going to say second or third, really?
Yeah. I got you four other times. However, it's been like since August of 2023 since you've been on. So,
okay, all right, that's okay.
We let you sit in the green room for a little too long, I think, on this one. But folks, just a little bit. Dr. Pjae is she and I get a chance to share in the leadership.
Yeah.
Affiliated New Thought Network. We both serve on the board there, and it's always so much fun being with you. You bring such a light to those meetings, and you had me on your program just a few weeks back.
Yeah.
So, folks, check out the ANTN's Thought Leader Thursday. I was Dr. Pjae's guest on that program. It aired on the final Thursday of January, so you can catch that over on their channel on the archives. But Dr. Pjae, welcome back, and tell everybody a little bit what do we need to know about you to get started here today.
Exactly. Well, I love, like, I have the same story that everybody else does. When you come to New Thought, when you finally stumble into, however you discover it, New Thought, it's just like you're just born again. Like, I'm just, oh my God, I'm finally alive, and just telling everybody about it. So I love what New Thought has to say. And it has to say that, it's just a world that works for everyone. So we don't have a lot of things, and I don't have a lot of things where I have expectations of you. I don't. What I try to do and what works for me is about loving people unconditionally, which to me feels like you're saying the same thing twice, because that's what love is, unconditionally. So to say love unconditionally is to say the same thing twice, because that's really all love is, right? Is to be that. But then what does that look like? So I'm always talking about what does that look like? Because I think the hardest thing that we have to do is to love ourselves. I had someone give me a little test, and they said, just write down, all the people that you love. Just write down everybody you love, your family, whoever it is. Just write down your list. And so we did that, and I did that myself after I finished. And they said, okay, is it complete? I said, it's as complete as I can think of. And they said, okay, is your name on it? Hello. Exactly. And your name actually should be first. But I think, and so that's part of what I work with my podcasts and with myself, with my congregation, is what does love look like, and putting yourself first. Because it really, honestly, sounds like a cliche, but it's actually true. If you can't love yourself, I'm sorry, you're not able to love anyone else. It's not. You don't know what it looks like. Because to be able to love, give you for the things that you don't do, to feel like you do, how hard we are on ourselves. You can do that to other people. You don't figure out how not to do it to yourself. So that's the thing that I work on a lot.
Right on. You're gonna leave us speechless here today.
Well, you know, as the saying goes, love is the answer.
It
Right.
is it is the answer, and it's not a cliche. It feels like it's a cliche, but it really, if you actually know what love is, it is the answer. It's the only answer.
Mhm.
It's the only one. It's, you know, and so that question becomes just, how does it show up? What does it look like? How does it show up?
And you know, that's key, because there's that phrase that love is a many splendored thing,
Yes.
meaning that, you know, love is like a ray of light hitting a very meticulous cut diamond, and when
Yes.
it hits, it comes off in all
Prism.
kinds of
Yes.
colors and splendors, and covers so many bases
It does.
that when we look at love in that manner, there's not, you know, that we really realize that there's no place where love is not, and
No
then
place.
we have to figure out, you know, what is my relationship to it, and how do I maintain activation with it.
Exactly correct. And I think what we really seem to miss, because it's such a subtle thing, is how love actually changes a situation. If
Mhm.
you're actually bringing love to it as opposed to judgment, because that's what we want. We think that love has to do with people being like us, and that you love the way that I love, and then if you don't, then you don't know what love is. It's really about you. Like, if you can't understand how they love, and why do they need to love the way you do? Why do they need to be and behave and all of those things? And that's what we put on love, but that's not what it is. You have to look at somebody and see who they are. We know, we say the word, but how do we actually envision it that you're looking at the divine? If you think that, even if somebody's shouting at the top of their lungs something that you would just rail against at the top of yours, but you could still love them and look at them and say they're the divine, and they're bringing this because it needs to be here.
Mhm.
They need to be here. That's work. That's always the work. Constantly, you know, checking yourself about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I've shared this with Robert before. My father would always tell me, love is something you stand in, not fall in.
Ooh,
And
I love
and
that. I'm gonna use that.
and you know, we have been given this image of romantic love, which
Yes.
is something that is, you know, portrayed as, you know, oh, I fell in love, but real love, as I analyze this statement, is something that I stand in, because it's not always honeymoon love. Sometimes it's knock down, drag out love, pardon the expression. But you know, not advocating any violence or anything,
No,
but
no,
but
no, no, not
but,
that.
but you know, the ability to take two positions and be able
Yes,
to work through the point, counterpoint, and the contrast within those, and come
exactly.
to a place of togetherness, even though I may not be exactly on the mark that you on, we
Correct.
can begin to see how they work together for the good of all, and then
Exactly.
move forward with that love of everyone's being accounted for or taken into account when we move
Exactly.
through
Z.
this.
Exactly. Z. And so I think part of the work for me is, you know, as you do in any conversation, like right now, we're having this conversation and I'm trying to get my point across. But if you're looking at what love looks like, you want them to get their point across.
Mhm.
So the question is always, tell me more about that. Tell me what that means to you. You know, so you're really always trying to be on. There was something that my first husband, I'm sorry, that was my second husband. Second husband said it was so amazing. And it took me the longest time to understand it, but he just kept saying it. And we would have an argument, and he would say, "PJ, I'm on your side," and I would say, how can you be on my side when I've got a point and you have a point? So you're on your side and I'm on my side. What are you talking about? And listen, I'm on your, and finally it just boom, it clicked. And I said, oh, you're on my side, which means he's not fighting with me. We weren't fighting. We were just trying to understand, just trying to love each other through it. And it took me quite some time, because I wasn't raised in that. But it was always a, you know, a fight going on. In the fight, you know. And so to get that, and that's what I bring with me all the time. I'm on your side. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just trying to understand you. Just trying to understand. And I don't have to agree to understand. I don't have to agree. I just understand and know that you have a valid point and you have a right to that point. That's all.
Right.
That's all.
I think this is a great conversation because, love was front and center this weekend at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
The only thing
I didn't even realize it was Super Bowl Sunday.
So, this is what I'm showing you here, folks. If you're listening to the podcast at a later time, we're looking at a picture of Levi Stadium, and this is how Bad Bunny finished his halftime show with his huge giant screen saying the only thing more powerful than love, or the only thing more powerful than hate is love.
Wow.
And
I love it.
It seems to me like right now, at least in America, we're caught in between this choose a side, and the side, and in the choosing of the sides right now seems to be between love and hate, and each side does in some way seem to be accusing the other side of the hate.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at your socials these days, if you wear a red hat, the red hats are saying the blue hats hate everything, and if you're wearing a blue hat, the blue hats saying the red hats hate everything, and if you aren't wearing a hat, everybody thinks you're hating everything, and because you're not choosing a side, and that's right. So how do we? And maybe I'm looking for a little advice here, but how do we come to that point where we choose love and stop picking sides?
I don't have an easy answer. I know I can see Z has something on his mind, but I just want to say this is that why is it necessary to choose sides? That's I think we're on the wrong foot when we say we have to choose sides. Why can't I stand in what I know to be true for me and also stand with you in what you know to be true for me without us having to believe or think the same way? It doesn't mean that if to love somebody or to care about somebody means I think the way that they do.
Right.
I can acknowledge that you believe that and that has a value to you. It's not something I'm going to use, but I can understand you using it and appreciate and love you anyway and understand that, because I don't need to. I'm sorry, I'm a woman. The guys aren't gonna think the same way that I do. You don't need the same things that I do. Yes, we have several things that are the same, but you don't have the same needs that I have. So why would I only be able to love you if we needed the same things? Well, how would that work? So I think that's part of it. Just not having to insist that people think or understand in the same way that I do, that I can still honor and love you for your own thoughts and behaviors. It's okay.
Yeah, and I'm cultivating this idea and approach of oneness for this year.
Yes.
And when you look at oneness, i.e., 360 degrees, that means there are at least 360 points that we can move around the circle. And if we spiral, now we're at 0.1 and 0.2 as we continue to spiral up and out. So there are infinite number of perspectives on the wholeness of it. But if I limit myself to 2 points within that 360 degree points, not only do I miss the point, I miss the point absolutely, because we're only looking at 2 points in 360. Yes. And by making that evolutionary cycle, if you will, around the oneness, we begin to get a better perspective, and then we can allow for different perspectives. Like you said, there is no way for me to understand or speak intelligently, or I can speak intelligently, but I can't speak experientially from what it means to be a mother or what it means to have a baby, right?
Exactly. Z.
And so that's what we have to work with.
Exactly. And so, we don't have to experience the same thing to appreciate an experience.
Yes.
To love somebody through their experience that they're going through. And in fact, what a boring, what kind of a robotic world would we be living in? That would be just the most boring, unexciting life. I can't understand the need for that. But there you have it. And so I think one of the things we talk about in New Thought we talk about the work. And the greatest work to me is within me. It's me. It's me challenging me. It's me saying, I ask myself all the time, why is that true? I'll say something, I'll say something, I'll make a point. I think it's, it's just, why is that true? Is it true? Why is that true? Like, what makes that true? And a lot of times I'll ask myself, where does that thought even come from? Is that your thought? Is that a thought from out there? Is that a thought your parents gave you? Is that a thought that actually works for you? So we have all of these thoughts and beliefs we have never even challenged and said, where does that belief come from? All Black people have rhythm, and something we say a lot. We don't do that. We who? Black people don't do that. Men don't do that. White people don't. Am I white? That doesn't make any sense. So that whole nonsense about we don't. So where does that come from? And you have to examine instead of doing autopilot all the time. You can just challenge your own thoughts. Why do I think that? Why is that? Is that working for me? That's all. And so the work is always with you. You don't have to keep looking outside of you and expecting somebody else to change. Are you kidding? Are you joking? If you've been married in a relationship at all, that's not going to happen. So,
you mean that's not how it works? Wait a minute. Oh my God.
And I think you're hitting on something here that's important because we do. It's like ingrained in, I'm going to say American culture because I can't speak for all cultures, but it is ingrained in an American culture that we have the right way and we have the wrong way. And it's my way or the highway. And I'm kind of struck in this conversation that this is sort of what the transgender culture, let's say right now, is, I think, helping to show Americans is
you're not kidding.
Our old systems, our old binary systems, right, wrong, black, white, good, bad.
Yeah, girl, boy, yes.
They don't hold up under the lens of cultural and human evolution.
Exactly.
And this is what I always love about New Thought, and I use it a lot, is we are serving the evolution of human consciousness.
Yes.
And human consciousness is coming to a greater understanding that you get to be you. And it's not for me to say, hey, no, you were born this way and you got to be this. You get to be you and you get to tell me who you are. And then it's my job to say, okay, how do I approach the you that you're telling me you are?
Yeah. How can I serve? How can I help? What do you need from me to love you? What do you need from me to feel loved, to feel accepted, to feel seen? What do you need? How can I help you? Yeah. How can I love you? That's again, part of what this whole unconditional love is. How do you want to be loved? And why can't I do that? Why can't we do that? Just love somebody the way they want to be loved. What's the problem?
Yeah.
So, these are the to me, the quintessential questions, the essential questions of life, and what it's really about and how we serve in New Thought. We really try. And of course, we're human beings and we have our own baggage that we bring to the table. And so, but that's the point, isn't it? That's why I keep saying that the work is ours to do individually, because I can't change Robert's baggage. I don't know what Robert's baggage is. I don't know what that is. I don't know. What do I know? All I know is the crap that's in my head, and that makes my heart hurt. And anytime that I have a thought that separates me from somebody else, that's baggage. That's nonsense. And I want to look at it. I want to look at it. I want to say, what's that about? What makes you say that? And if I can get in conversation with someone, if they'll allow it, I'll get in conversation with them. And I had this thought. Tell me about talking. What is that really? What am I looking at? What is it you want? Whatever.
Yeah, and that's key, because one of the anchors of love is communication.
Absolutely.
Right? And if I step into the conversation being open with the fact being fully known that what's clear to me is clear to me alone and nobody else.
Exactly.
And so the only way for us to begin to do that dance is to have that conversation and not try to change anyone's mind or position, but to say, here is mine, here is how I understand it and why I may see it this way based on experience, whatever. Now, what's your point? How do you see it? And now, because the mere fact that you can give a different side of it means that it's more than what I'm looking at. So now we got to do the dance around. We got to go around this and do, you know, as the dance was, we got to do the hokey pokey and turn myself around. And that's what it's all about, right?
So, what it's all about. Exactly. And I just wonder, you know, what is the fear? You know, what is, because it's, you know, anytime you don't want to look at something, there's a fearful thing. What do you think you're going to see? What do you think you're going to find? You're only not getting into conversations because you think something negative is going to happen. Well, okay, but if you just hold on to that, nothing, all your negative thoughts are going to be in your head, and it's going to be there. It's going to be in the way that you project, the way that you, the thoughts that you have for someone. What I was saying earlier about love and how unconditional love, how it changes, it actually changes the energy. People feel and know when you accept them whole. When you come to the table and you're not coming to judge, you're actually just asking a question. Tell me about that, and you really mean that. Not tell me about it so I can argue with you, right? I'm just going to let you talk long enough for me to get a point that I can argue with. Well, tell me about that. And people can feel when you're with an honest question.
Yeah. And you know, you bring up the point there with the argument piece. Argument is very different from debate.
Exactly correct.
And so, you know, what we're encouraging, I think, in terms of love and communication is if there's not a clear consensus of how we are coming at this, then we debate, i.e. we bring forth our evidence and our points of interest and contrast to not convince you, but to broaden the playing field. Correct. And to have more assets, if you will, available to us to make better decisions.
Correct, Z. Correct. So this is what I have. These are the thoughts I have. These 10 thoughts. Okay, look at those 10 thoughts and tell me what do you add? What do you think you could add to a point that I have? Or that point's not even on the table. That's not how we see it. So it's not about an argument. It's about just looking at it and saying, I love that. Okay, well, let me add to that. Let me share with you, because it's about sharing and understanding and the communication you talked about earlier. And that's what love looks like.
Yeah.
To me, that's what love looks like. Yeah.
I'm hearing love as communication here tonight, because one of the things I'm reflecting on, and I think anybody that's ever been in a long-term relationship, in a marriage or other relationship, recognizes that I think I'm a mind reader. I think I know what you're about to say, and I think I know what you mean. Going, because we've been married for a long time. I know what you're about to say, and this is I'll raise my hand, folks. This is a personal thing I'm working on. Is not jumping.
Where's our hand on this one?
and not assuming what my wife is about to share with me, and not cutting off the conversation. Because here's what happens: is if I cut off the conversation, I'm slamming the door for spirit to give me new information.
Yes.
Just as you were saying, PJ, right? We have different perspectives, and people are going to come with different ideas. And the minute that I jump to that conclusion that I'm right, and I'm going to tell you why I'm right here, and I'm going to tell you where I know you're going, so I'm just going to tell you why you're not going, why I'm not going to let you go there. I've closed the door to greater revelation.
And there's a skill here that needs to be brought forward and for all of us to try to cultivate, and that is how this is where I'm trying to get better at meditation. How do I quiet my mind when I'm listening to someone else and not be preparing the retort or the statement or the question? to one thing you said, which took a couple of seconds out of a 5-minute soliloquy that you just gave me. And I done missed everything else, which may have answered the question that I'm finna try to hammer, or the discontent that I may be trying to bring forth. And so it's a real skill and dance of how do I sit in that place, as we say, as the witness or the observer, probably more than the witness, or maybe a little bit of both. But how do I do that and come up with a synopsis or whatever the right word is to be able to speak, number one, intelligently and not off the cuff, and two, how to do it in an inquisitive way as opposed to an accusatory way.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I know, Z, is just in the middle of like right now we're talking, we're going back and forth. I'm trying to hear what you're saying without me working up my response, or how I want to respond to that. I'm actually while you're talking, I'm actually talking to myself, and I'm saying, shut the fuck up. Sorry, cut out.
You're not the first one this year to use that term, so you're good. We've had a few of those already this year.
But yeah, I'm telling myself, be quiet. Yeah. So for me, and I think this is where the power that we have as human beings is that we can make a decision. We make a choice and a decision. I want to hear you. I want to be quiet. So as I say that, and you're talking, and I hear myself, I'm listening and talking to myself at the same time, because it's just an automatic where there's stuff that rises up in our minds because we've had experiences, and there's no way for we're intelligent to have experiences. So as you say something I think I've experienced, a thing pops up and hear the whole thing. Hear the whole thing. So it's a constant quiet talk in my mind because I absolutely do want to hear you. I do want to love you. And I think that is the highest way of loving somebody, is to see and to hear them.
Yeah. And it's tough, I'm sorry, Robert. I just when I think about when I'm talking to my wife, especially if it's something that I'm passionate about.
Yes.
I'm just to be honest, I'm trying not to accept anything. Now that leads to some bad situations, obviously. But I'm working on being better at how do I, because if either one of us says something that hits a nerve, even though the so-called nerve has been taken out, right? We resolved it, we fixed it, we took that nerve out. The idea of how do we really forget or forgive is a better way. How do we really forgive and not be encouraged or inspired to speak to that thing that was forgiven, but how do we look at it as a balm to keep putting on that scab or putting on that wound to relieve that pressure so something else can take form.
I got you. Yeah. Right. I know exactly what you mean.
My first teacher used to say, don't make me push this. Yeah. Don't make me push this button. Right. Yeah. Don't you dare give me the excuse to go off.
Right.
You've really got nothing to do with it. You're just doing you. You're just sharing your truth. And it's my trigger.
Correct.
That I need to most pay attention to, because when I push my own button that way, what I'm pushing is that wound you're talking about. See, right? I'm pushing that wound and saying, I'm not willing to heal this. And I'm going to stay in the fear. I'm going to stay in that conditional love that I obviously don't have for myself here, because you just caused me to say something I shouldn't have.
Right. Right. And then I'm going to be beating myself up for a while because I didn't show up the way I wanted to show up. So now I got to beat myself up for a while. It's insane. Yes, that part. See.
And then I come back and say, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And do the whole Ho'oponopono thing. So
we come back for whatever to talk a little bit about forgiveness, because you brought that up, and that's a part of how does that happen? How does because that's part of the love and forgiving yourself. It's not even about forgiving. It's about forgiving you. How do you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Dr. PJ's doing a better job at my job than I am right now, and I'm okay with that. She just lets you know, folks, we do need to take a break. Let a couple of our sponsors say hello and give us a chance to take a breath and a sip of water. But we are going to come back. We've got a whole nother half hour to go, so don't go away. Hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Let your friends and family know what we've got going on. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger. Learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website www.ntmedia.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer. We look forward to connecting with you soon.
And we're back with more of New Thought today on the New Thought Media Network. Reverend Elzia and I are here with you every week. And our guest today, Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley out of Texas. And as we've said already, you're one of our top appearing guests. You've been with us. This is your 5th appearance. And New Thought Media Network's just about to turn 6. So we've got you on an average of once a year. That's pretty good. I'm grateful you're here today. So
thank you for having me. I love coming. I just feel very free to say what I need to say. There's no restrictions. When you just PJ, come and do what you're gonna do, girl.
Exactly. So, and in our last segment, something hit me that I realized. I put out a post yesterday, day before, and the title of the post is Deepak Chopra and the Question of Spiritual Accountability. Mm-hmm. And on that post, someone put a comment that said, hey, not to be negative or anything, but Deepak's in the Epstein files. And I'm like, yeah, obviously you never read my post. You didn't read the article. Because the article is all about why New Thought must refuse the bypass and demand ethical clarity. And I kind of like to hear from you guys, from both of you a little bit on that, because it seems like this is the topic of the day. And not just because a high-named guru ends up being named by some people and some accusations and stuff, but it seems like it's in so many places around New Thought. This concept of integrity and ethics. And it feels to me that in some ways that's been a place where we kind of turn the other cheek a little bit. If it's all good, if it's all one, it's all good. How do we build a culture of ethics within the New Thought movement?
On ethics?
Yeah, ethics, integrity, wherever you want to take it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna toss some things out that may or may not be popular, and I don't really care. But the thing is this: whatever Deepak has said, all the words, all the books, whatever he's written, if that's helped you, if you've heard whatever he's showed up, and I know this Epstein file looks like pretty much everybody in the U.S. is going to be ending up in these files. It's unbelievable. I don't know what all has gone on, and I don't know what goes on in somebody's life in any one area or another. As you go through life of 60, 70, 80 years, things happen. It doesn't mean that you haven't lived a life of integrity. And yes, you may have slipped up. The thing is this, is that you're asking for someone who has a spiritual consciousness to be a perfect person. And that's just simply not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It doesn't mean that they haven't spoken truth. So I'm looking for the truth. I'm not looking at this man's life. I'm looking at his truth that he's spoken. And you know truth, and I know truth, and it resonates when I hear it. Whatever he has done, it hasn't changed the fact that he's spoken the truth. And he has to deal with the other things that that has to do with it. For me, integrity is a huge thing, but I'm not always doing exactly the best thing, the highest thing, because I'm a human being. So I don't want to be judged by my worst moment. We don't want to be doing, and I don't want to be judged at all. But if you must judge, I don't want to be judged by my worst moment.
Right.
And okay, yes, things happen, and yes, people have done some things. None of us, and I don't even know how Jesus Christ was, because people are telling that story. We weren't there. We don't know. None of us are that. We are human beings, and we live a life with as much integrity, whatever we say it is. But we're going to make mistakes. We're going to stumble. We're going to fall. We're going to look at ourselves and go, "Oh man, that was not good. It wasn't good." Now, so I don't, not having any idea. I stay away from that kind of thing. The whole whoever's doing bad, the Epstein files, and any other negative things. That doesn't move my life along. I don't need to do that. Those people are not in my life, so I don't really read that. So I don't really know that much about that. But I can tell you this. I have read a lot of things from Deepak, and I have lived and loved and understood a lot of things from what he has said. So whatever he's done there, and I'm not judging that. I'm not saying it was good or bad or negative. I'm saying I have still learned from the man. That's all I'm saying.
And you brought up Jesus, and Jesus clearly stated, and is referred to often, he or she who is without sin.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So that's first and foremost. Okay. But if we go back to that ancient scripture called, the creation and evolution of life, it is just that. It is not a life of perfection. It is a life of evolution and transformation.
It is.
And if we just take the body as the holy temple, there are organs in the body, gallbladders and things of such, that they have a purpose, yes, but it is possible that we have transformed beyond that ideal thing, and you're able to take that out and live a completely full life with happiness and joy. And all of that to say that we are put in certain situations and
yes,
problematic things to grow, to ignite, and to open up another thing in our mind, consciousness, behavior, personality. We could go on. Now, I could judge, but Jesus said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." Now,
judge not.
That's how I learned by experience. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do that. I learned from that experience that you had that I don't know if I can handle that, so I ain't gonna do it. Right. And that's how we begin to really go back to that initial thing, I believe, of love. Yes. Right. We've all done things that we wish we hadn't done, and we hope to God they don't come out in the light. And that's anybody on the planet. How small, how big, doesn't matter. How it affects you is what counts. And when we can move beyond that, I think the ethics part becomes, if I've made a mistake, or I've misstated or misjudged, how do I rectify it?
How do I rectify it? Yes. What's mine to do? It's always that question. What's mine to do? What can I do? What's mine to do? All of that. And so the whole pointing the finger thing is to try to make you feel better without actually doing any work. And that's not going to happen. That's all that is. Just, it's not going to happen. And, and not that we want to protect people that have been hurt by, people that have done some bad things. I'm not saying that at all. But the whole judging part from a spiritual perspective or from a human perspective, no, I'm not going to do any of that.
And that's part of the 360, right? How am I looking at the situation from a human perspective, from a legal perspective, from a compassion perspective, from an abuse perspective? I mean, there's so many pieces that make it up.
Correct.
how do we begin to do that? Look at it from
Yeah.
all these various positions that we can pull up and say, okay, now let me give an opinion. That's why when you go to the Supreme Court, most of the time, and I may not be a good example, they give opinions.
Yes.
Right? They give opinions on a case of how it might be adjudicated,
Right.
But that's the kind of, I believe, the kind of approach that we should take at a personal, communal, and global level when we look at things going awry, if you will.
Yeah. Correct. So
Yep.
that's really all I have to say about that. It's just, yeah.
And I wanted to bring it into today's conversation simply for the fact that we sometimes are accused, New Thought as a movement is often accused of whitewashing some of these things, of pushing these things under the carpet and pretending they don't exist.
Yeah.
And I think that I've been using an example privately with some friends that there's a musician I really like, musician who was called out in 2020 in the early stages of the Me Too type movement. And there's no debating the fact that he was a really, really shitty boyfriend.
Okay.
But there is also no evidence that he was involved with underage girls. There's no proof or evidence. And regardless of all of that, he dropped out of public life. He went and did his own work.
Yeah.
He let people see him doing his work.
Yes.
And he has come back out into public life to say, this is what I learned about myself.
Beautiful.
This is how I handled it. And these are the new promises I'm making moving forward.
Beautiful.
And I think it's that type of accountability, that type of integrity that I would like to see more often. I have to say it, what Deepak's quote apology left me rather flat. And if you get a chance, folks, jump onto my Substack and read that article. I don't think it held the weight of the divine. I don't think there was integrity there. And I think that I would like to see some public work, some public admonishments, some real substantial, visible change so we can feel confident that he's not going to do this again.
Yeah.
That our daughters and our sons are safe in his company, that our wives and our husbands are safe in his company, and that what he's selling is integrous and is spiritually integrity rather than just whatever his publisher seems to think is going to sell.
Exactly.
I think we're at a both end in this. And I think that, and I agree, I don't want to see anybody, I didn't burn his books. They might not I might not teach from his books for quite a while unless I were to see something like that. But we don't want to throw out what good was revealed. I just might look for a new source to share that revelation from for the time being.
Yeah. And the thing is this is if that's the mark that we're looking at, that we can only read things from people that haven't done anything, that we look in their history, we're not gonna, we're human beings. We're human beings. Everybody's gonna have something in their past that they don't want out in the public light. That's one of the things that, to me, that says whether you want to run for public office or not, because the moment you go into the public, everybody's looking for all kinds of things that they wouldn't necessarily look for. So there's no one that doesn't have something. Because we are human beings. And again, back to my point of the work is ours. I don't need somebody. I'm not waiting for somebody outside of me to point to something PJ did. PJ's doing all the pointing she needs to do with her in her own heart and mind, and saying, "Hey, PJ, that you could have done better. That really isn't who you say you are. Let's do better next time." And that's up to us individually. I honestly don't want to take time to look at what anybody else is doing. I don't have time for that. I believe that as I'm involved with you, my heart and mind knows who you are. You can't hide that. Who you are, you can't hide that. I didn't know Deepak on a personal level. I just know him from his books. So his book said, and I could read that in spiritual, all that. But as soon as if I bring you into my circle, I know who you are. You know who I am. There's no hiding that. And I make a decision about whether we are, and it's not a judgment, it's a decision about whether or not I brought into my circle those who we are on the same page in terms of how we want to show up. That is all. That is all. That's the decision we get to make, because it's my life and I get to make that choice. So do you. So do you. That's all. That's all. Yeah.
Well, before we run out of time, because I kind of sidetracked us there a little bit. Thank you, folks, for taking a detour with us. Normally, during this portion of the show, what we're talking about is the vision for New Thought and how New Thought serves and supports an evolution in human consciousness, where we're going, maybe as a movement or as a people or as a culture. And Dr. Pjae, we'd love to hear some of your thoughts on that. What do you see as the bigger vision for the future movement, the evolution, the forward movement of New Thought?
Well, I kind of love, what we're already doing, and I just say more and more of that, because I'm on the board, certainly of one of the larger New Thought organizations, Anton. We're constantly asking ourselves, what's ours to do? What's out there? Who can we serve? Who can we bring in that is aligned with what we're doing, and we move together, because we're not trying to do it alone. It's always about who else, what else, what is going on, and how can we help? How can we take our energy, our time, our talent, our money, and put it out there in the world to serve those who are doing what we're talking about? And that is that whole, as we talk about the green growing edge, New Thought is about saying it's about spirituality and not about religion. It doesn't matter how you serve. It's about what you're serving. It's about what what you're serving, what you're saying is, and it's about humanity. How do we love? How do we help? How do we serve? That's what we're always asking. And New Thought, Anton, New Thought of the communities that I know, are always saying, what is that? What's there for us? What's out there for us? And we're asking people to share with us what's going on in the world for you. What do you need help with? How can we help you? That's a question we ask all the time. How can we serve? How can we help? And I don't know how else you could grow if you're not asking that question in a very sincere way and backing it up with our talent and our time and our treasure. That's what we do. So that's what I think New Thought is about. And I don't see it slacking off. I see it continuing to ask those questions and continuing to look out there and see what's going on, who needs help, and what's ours to do. That's the question. My opinion.
Yeah, that precious word of service, I think, is key. And I, Robert knows, and I love to use the human body because I can make it real personal. And when we look at the various parts of the body, pick one, doesn't matter, or again, a system. It is in service to the maintaining of the whole body, the whole person, the whole entity.
Yes.
And the moment any system, organ, or whatever forgets that prime objective, if you will, there is there's a notification light, like if you're driving in your car and the gas get low.
Oh. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yep, that's okay. We know where he was going. But he's correct. I think he's talking about us, humanity, and New Thought as a system, of saying, we're looking at each other and go, where does the light need to be shown? Because what's lacking, and what part of the system isn't working right now? Who's not getting loved? Who's not being served? Where is that happening? And I think that's what the body does as well. That light comes on and says, "Hey, oh man, I can't see as well. What we need to get our eyes checked. What's happening here?" Right. Kind of what we do. We don't shy away from things. We don't hide from things. We actually look out there and say, and when I say out there, just in the world, it's not just this, just little compartmentalized a group of us, we're always saying, okay, what are they doing over there? How can we serve? What are they doing over there? How can we serve? What's our role in, if any, how can we help? And help in a way that they can appreciate, not help the way we want to, like taking our stuff and putting it on them. That's never what we do. We're always saying, what are they doing? And how can we help in their campaign to serve? How do we do that? And that is, to me, what love looks like. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to help you, be more who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what God does.
I shout it from the rooftops in every conversation I can. That's part of what I love about Anton, the affiliated New Thought Network, because, and we're going to highlight a story here you may have already heard, folks, but Anton, we put our money where our mouth is.
We do.
And we do very well financially through a number of different resources and revenue streams. And we tithe 10% on that. And we've set aside various funds to help people with education. And you can apply for funds if you're a member to support your ministry. And the board has a discretionary fund. And so recently a story came to me of a family that is emigrated to the U.S. from the Ukraine. They came over several years ago. They just happen to live in Minneapolis. And in the current situation, the renewal for their visas went from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000.
It's amazing.
Put a huge hardship on the family.
Dramatic increase.
And with everything that's going on there, they're afraid to leave their home.
Yeah.
And we became aware of that. I asked the board if we could spend some of our discretionary fund. And the thing I love about the board is they said, oh, that's not enough. I think you were the first one to say it, PJ. I think you were the first one to say, oh, that's ain't enough. We need to give them more than that. And okay, we've got it. And so we did, but we did it. And I really do see it as a form of unconditional love, because we didn't ask them to go attend a New Thought church.
No, show me something, write me something.
Yeah, here, we'll give you the money, and here's a couple of books you got to read to be a part of.
Right.
Or hey, you have to even. We didn't even put a condition that they have to buy anything back out of that.
No attachment.
Just completely unconditional here, and we move quick. So I already have talked to our liaison who's handling all this. She's already gotten the money. She's already put it in their hands. And she's told me that the outpouring of emotion from this family for the financial support that comes through people that they don't know.
They don't even know.
And they don't need to know us.
At all.
We get to know ourselves better through these types of experiences. Welcome back, Z.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things.
I got my internet is not the best over here sometimes, so I'm sorry.
It is what it is. It just comes and goes. We're just blessed when we see you.
Exactly. Speaking of blessed, we're going to take another quick moment, folks, and say thank you to some of the people that are blessing New Thought Media Network and helping us to stay on the air. You can always become one of these folks, but until you do, help us and join us in saying thank you to our organizational sponsors and individual donors. We'll be right back after this message. Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, Thank you. And please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you to all of our organizational sponsors and individual donors. It's thanks to folks like you that keep this network going and on the air and bringing great conversations like we've been having today with Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley. So, Dr. Pjae, before we completely run out of time, what's happening in your world? What do you got going on? How can we want to make sure people see your website here, pjaestanley.com. That's one way to stay in touch with you. But what else would you want people to know?
Really, I don't have a lot that's going on at the beginning of the year. I'm just trying to decide where I'm going with. I got books that I'm trying to finish up. You know how that goes, just completing some projects and things like that. So it's all going really great. Just continuing to share the love. That's always been the thing that I do, and the thing that I will continue to do no matter what happens is share the love. And so that's what we're doing. Just staying together, loving each other, and moving forward with New Thought. That's what we're doing.
Right on. Well, folks, there's the website, pjaestanley.com. You can connect with Dr. Pjae there. Or, as our dear friend, Dr. Jerry Troyer says, it's always a great day to sign up for the Anton Retreat. And if you do, you get to see and hug Dr. Pjae in person for that. So I think we probably just made Dr. Jerry happy. So before we wrap all this up today, however, as we do every week, it's time for our final thoughts. Rev Z, you're up first.
Yeah, I would say I love that beginning one of love, and so I'm gonna marry two things we talked about and say now is the time to stand in love and service for the whole of humanity,
Yes.
to make sure that we can reach a goal where we all claim a world that works for all.
That's it. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Dr. Pjae, final thoughts.
Yeah, I threw out something about forgiveness, and I just want to say really quickly that that's a big deal. And you're talking about love and things like that. And the biggest thing is to forgive yourself. You just don't show up the way you'd like sometimes, and you don't finish things, you don't complete things. But I say, to love yourself, you have to be able to just forgive yourself. Just let it go. Just let it go. It's all right. And love yourself. So forgiveness is a big part. And just do that. Just forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
You I almost hear in that there's a song lyric, to love, serve, and remember, and I'm changing it in my head to love, forgive, and remember.
Yes.
To remember who we are, to remember the truth of who we have come here to be, and that is not to be an agent of division or separation. That is not to be a voice of condemnation and aggression, but to be the voice of love, to be an expression of forgiveness, and to remember that we are the divine in form. And we're saying it a lot lately, more so than normal, I think, but we are the ones we've been waiting for.
We are the ones. We're already here. Already here.
And we are already here. So, folks, thanks for being with us today. Please do like, share, subscribe, hit all the buttons that are appropriate. If you'd like to catch up with this episode or any of our past episodes, you can go to our YouTube channel. Over on the playlist section, you'll find a playlist for New Thought Today. And you can go all the way back and watch. And if you go in there and just search Pjae, you're going to find all the episodes we've done together. So you can see how our conversation has progressed over the year. But Dr. Pjae, thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful. Always wonderful. Always wonderful. Great to see you as well.
Yeah. Everyone else out there, we wish you peace. Until next time, at least, we wish you peace and richest blessings.
Yes. So it is.